in our constitution, but freedoms are limited. Huwezi tu sema anything bwana, huwezi tu enda uanze kutusi mzazi wa mtu, uanze kusema vitu zenye hata anybody akiziangalia, hata mwenye ajui huyo mtu anaona tu hii ni uongo. She's been on Anifa's case, ametusi huyo msichana bwana, amemtusi things that are not halal honestly. Now seriously, hakuna mtu hapa. Mimi I tried to engage with her once and it was on a very logical topic. Akatusi akanitusi na mamangu. I mean, is that the person we should all be following? If anybody opens up a case against her, if it's true it's abduction, that's very wrong. But if she's arrested, she should be arrested.
So as we
The
speak
things
right
she's
now, you
saying,
have not tweeted Free Aoko.
I have.
Oh, yeah.
I have tweeted Free Aoko because the information I'm getting is she was abducted and that is unconstitutional. But if she was to be arrested, I wouldn't tweet that.
Okay. I understand, but we know given the current political climate, this government, especially the police, are going around. It's abducting, but right now I think she's in Muthaiga, as per the information we're getting in the public domain. She's in Muthaiga police station. But in terms of speaking, voicing out your opinions or evidence that you have on others, sometimes that can lead to misinformation and disinformation. We have to consider the actions of what we are saying, especially in the time that we're living in, where something can be tweeted out and can get a lot of attention, a lot of retweets, and can, by the time you can't retract it, you've already damaged somebody's you've done character assassination, damaged them, and some words you can't even take back. So that's why we are questioning, because Aoko she's an interesting tweet. Some of you, I think we encourage her. Some of us, we encourage her. Nasema hiyo chai ya Aoko ni tamu, and we could be guilty. And then she continues to make even sweeter and sweeter tea. Anyway, perfectly imperfect. How you doing? What are your thoughts on the developing story of Aoko being arrested? Is it warranted or is it baseless? And she needs to be released immediately. Perfectly. Can you hear me?
Thank you for the opportunity, Afrocentric. I appreciate. My opinion might differ from the last speaker kidogo, because I know that a lot of people here wanaweza kuwa, it would be very wrong for us to think we know who Aoko is from what she tweets, because hapa Twitter we have wanga wakiadvocate. So saizi, I don't think Aoko is worse than the people who tweets zinakaa very predatory and about pedophilia. So Aoko hajafikia hapo. Majority of the time Aoko may or may not be saying vitu zenye ziko baseless, vitu zenye ziko hearsay, lakini one thing I know is that the political class pia hawa wako innocent. And as the last speaker was saying, mtoto akikuja kwa timeline kuona baba yake akitusiwa, I don't deserve zenye hajafanya, lakini to this country and sisi Kenyans. So whatever they get, I will not defend them. Lakini Aoko, I would say something, because me nilim DM a while ago. Last week, I DM'd her to tell her about my situation, and considering venye nilikuwa naona akitweet and watu wakiogopa kupick fights na yeye because of the kind of person that she is, anaweza kutusi yani vibaya, I thought she was going to be she was not going to be compassionate at all, and she wouldn't even probably respond because ni watu wengi wako na blue, I don't know, hizi tags za blue wakwangi wakirespond, and I was shocked because she was very compassionate and she actually responded quickly more than I thought. So saizi I might be biased because ninaweza sema alikuwa mzuri to me hiyo siku, lakini what I know hiyo siku is that Aoko was very kind. I didn't expect that. Na watu wengi kwa hii timeline ni rahisi sana we can easily talk about someone else because sisi hatujapatikana. We say worse about people, we do worse to people. So hata saa hizi ni time ya Aoko sasa, everyone will start saying the way she deserves it because anakuanga akisema hivi na hivi, but everything she says about the political class, whether or not wana deserve kutukanwa hivyo vibaya, I think the political class deserve everything that they usually get kwa hii earth mbaya. They do wrong by us, lakini Aoko deserves some grace. She is our fellow Kenyan, amekuwa abducted. We cannot say that abduction is illegal, but anytime you are saying something and there is a but, ina disqualify anything ume say before that. So sahi abductions ni wrong. Na Aoko doesn't deserve anything that that is coming to her. Ajai kuja kwa hii timeline na akatusi an innocent person. And innocent, I mean Kenyans who are not part of the political class. Ajawaingilia, anaingililianga the political class. So, and no one in the political class is innocent. They have done something wrong one way or another. So mimi about Aoko, I think it's baseless. That is my opinion. Because Aoko is not, we don't know her. Leo siwezi sema najua Afrocentric because ameni allow ni kuwe kwa space na yena ameni allow ni kuwe co-host. I don't know him. You don't really know anyone here on Twitter unless you meet with someone personally kila siku and you know that they are evil, they are conniving, they are this and that. We cannot speak on Aoko. Anakujanga kila siku na no one has ever sued her. Sahi angefaa kukua served na papers ya kuwa sued because ya defamation na kuharibia mtu jina, but none of that. The thing is, hata sijui kama alikuwa arrested or abducted, but yeah, lazima alisema something that will ruffle some feathers. There has been a tweet that has been going around wakisema hiyo ndio imefanya akuwe abducted. So please, tusianze kusema kuna mtu ana deserve kuwa abducted because ya chenye alikuwa anasema kwa timeline. And I am not saying it's okay ku abuse mtu. I'm just saying Aoko is one of us. Ame advocate for the revolution. Amekuwa kwa street. Huwezi sema wengine wetu hapa hata we've not even done as much as her for this revolution. So please, Aoko ana deserve kama ni kuwa arrested, amefanya kitu, akuwe arrested the right way na apatiwe, alawiwe legal counsel wamuone. Someone I think kwa tweet niliona walisema hajapewa amekatazwa kupewa legal representation. So saizi Aoko is not someone Aoko is not someone we know, not unless mnapatananga na yeye, then you don't know her. Everyone here plays a character. A lot of people here wenye muliona wali turn their back on the revolution, most of you here were on space almost crying because amkuwa mna expect huyo mtu awa betray. Aoko shows who she is. She doesn't mince her words. She calls a spade and not a spade a spoon. That is someone you know what you are getting with her up front. Unlike someone when you're ana pretend. The political class are very good people, God-fearing, and they look like family people, respectful people, but that's not what we get from them at all. So Aoko anaweza kuwa ameongea, I don't know her. I joined Twitter just last month. Lakini history yake, ya history ya wewe kuona akitweet isikufanye unamjua ama uone unaona ana deserve nini. please. So tuna need ku ask tu hii government ikuwa accountable every time, na saa hii because wanasikizanga hizi spaces they will now think that kumbe Aoko watu wana support vitu zinamfanyikia by the way, and we don't know what they might do to her. So when you come here, speak ukifikiria ukiwa human side yako iongee, not part unafikiria unataka kuwa vengeful or unataka tu hii ni time yako sasa ku square things away with Aoko. So maybe akikuwa released na aseme she's okay, nothing happened to her, unaweza kuja kwa timeline umwambie nilikuwa naona una deserve, ndio mpatane na yeye vizuri kwa timeline. Lakini saa hii she's not safe, she's not okay, watu wake wanasema hawajui kama ako poa. So that is my opinion. Inaweza kuwa mtu mwingine atasema namtetea. I'm just talking on behalf of mtu mwenye amekuwa pro revolution. She has been advocating for the people who don't have a voice. She has been asking the government she has been advocating for good governance. Please. So please tukuje tu hapa na tukue mindful about chenye tunasema, because it might be one of us tomorrow, na hatuwezi taka watu waingie kwa space wakisema niliona akitweet hivi. She tweets a lot of horrible things, but mimi nimesema majority of the things ana postingi zenye ni horrible ni about the political class, na I'll be damned if I have a kind word to say about political class, yet people are continuing to grieve the deaths of their children. Sina anything kind ya kusema. Bado wanaenda wakidanganya, wakimake empty promises. So mi nasema tu kama Aoko amefanya anything wrong, apelekwe tu kotini and for her to plead her case, alawiwa akuwe na lawyer, but sio hizi abductions ya chini chini. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ivy. I didn't recognize you. Kumbe, that was you. Badilika.
It was me.
But when you opened your mic, then I recognized your voice. But thank you so much for your submission. Yes, calling out for our humanity when interrogating this case of Aoko, which I know I've been looking at the comments. It's really split the conversation a little bit. Some people are indifferent. Some are calling for her freedom. But let's see what Wanjiru has to say. Wanjiru, can you hear us now? I know the space was bugging earlier on. I had to reset. I had to log out, log back.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. Thanks, Afrocentric. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, now thanks for this space. And it's a very good space because this space basically it questions Article 33 of the Constitution, which is the right to freedom of expression. And freedom of expression is what has been the biggest issue in Kenya today, which Ruto is violating big time. And anybody right now calling for Aoko's, Aoko's violation of her freedom to expression is actually also being hypocritical. So Article 33 says we have a right to receive or impart information or ideas. So if we are a country we are talking about the rule of law and constitutionalism, whether or not those ideas offend us, we have to respect them because it is our right to express them. Article 33 subsection 2 and Article 24, it does have limitations and it's fair. The limitations are very specific. Propaganda for war, incitement of violence, hate speech, advocacy for hatred on the basis of ethnicity, race, religion, or other discriminatory grounds. Now, look, Aoko does offend a lot. And she offends me as well, because as a constitutionalist, Even when she talks about gays and she talks badly about faggots and she talks badly, it offends me. But it does not fall under any of those sections, subsection 1, 2, 3, or 4. And even if it does, it's not a criminal offense. She should not be arrested. There are other legal remedies, and there are civil remedies. So to arrest her is an abuse of power. It's an abuse of the law, which is what Ruto is doing against all of us who went to the streets to protest. It is not any different from what Ruto did by infringing on the rights of our association and our rights to picket. So anybody who is saying that she has done wrong and should be arrested is also saying that what Ruto did by infringing upon our Article 1 rights and our rights to assembly and to picket is also being, honestly, hypocritical. So, as citizens offended Ruto, tulimwambia anguka nayo, tulimwambia ni mwizi, tulimwambia all those things, and he unleashed war. And we said he has infringed on our constitutional rights. So why is it right for us to get here and say it is okay to arrest Aoko for exercising her Article 33 rights of expression? If truly she has offended anybody, then go for the civil remedies. The civil remedies could be defamation. But to arrest her and deny her rights to be represented by legal counsel, it's not right. I think she's offensive. But to be honest, it is wrong for her to be arrested. Let us be fair. Let us be consistent as Kenyans. Kama what Ruto has done to kill Kenyans who are exercising their rights to expression, why are we arresting Aoko because she has offended people? I cede the mic. Thank you.
Thank you, Wanjiru. Interesting take. What are your thoughts on responsibility towards the freedom of speech? Because if you incite people and they go commit a crime, do you bear responsibility? Can the law come for you? Because you said you're a constitutionalist. What is your thoughts on responsibility towards freedom of speech? Or we should just speak our mind, whatever the consequences, come what may, defamation of character, bodily harm, destruction of private property, public property. We all know how dangerous a loose cannon can be, so to speak. But I do get, that we have to guard the freedom of speech, especially whenever we disagree with someone on issues. And what about when it comes to straight down to personally? It's no longer about issues, it's about your family. Like the other speaker who said he decided to engage an individual on issues, but the responses were personal. Your mother, your sister, your child. And not everyone has the patience or the resources to launch a defamation suit against you. Some people let it go. Some people believe in karma. Some people believe, let it go. Let me be the bigger person. But if you go on with it, one day you'll meet someone who will decide ashuke na wewe. And that's, we have all encountered bullies. And KOX is the home of the biggest bully. In fact, the fact that a Kenyan has an account, you have some level of thick skin. There's someone who has, brushed you off in some kind of way. And we have all felt the force of abuse on this platform.
Yeah.
Where does responsibility come in, and when do we begin to call? Because we're calling for accountability and responsibility as much as it's the same way. How do we demand it from each other? What are your thoughts on that?
Look, Afrocentric, that's a good question. But at the end of the day, that little book that we agreed that agreed to guide us as Kenyans is what um, says who we is our moral compass, and it is what guides us. So for me, no matter how upset you are about what I say, just because you're in a position of power, you cannot use the instruments of force to silence me. And that's the problem. The law is on us. Because what you're trying to tell me is that Ruto, because he's got the instruments of force, he can use them against you and against me. But kama nimekuchongoa on the streets and we can't, so you and I are unequal. Is that what it means? Let's work with the constitution that we actually signed. There are 4: propaganda for war, violence, hate speech, advocacy for hatred. Now we have got to test that. There are laws that regulate how we should be punished and how that is judged. So we can, it's not a kangaroo court. We can't operate in a kangaroo court on one day, and then on the other side we're saying, oh, the constitution. We have got to be consistent. Aoko offends me a lot. But she has not committed a crime. Fact. I see.
Other guy, you had an interjection? Other guy, are you there?
Yeah. I'm definitely here, and I would like to maintain my position that abductions are unconstitutional, are illegal, and are among some of the very, very hideous things that this regime is carrying out. And I have tweeted Free Aoko, and I really mean that. But now, perfectly, let me speak on the character of Aoko, okay? And I will keep insisting that it is not right in any way to abduct Aoko. So, to perfectly, I would like to speak on the character of Aoko. You said you could be biased because you DM'd her and she was nice to you, and that's understandable. And I've seen some of her tweets, which she's really nice to people, but her niceness also has limitations to as long as you are aligned to her ideologies. Now, you also say that Aoko has been has stuck with the revolution throughout. I have also stuck with the revolution throughout. I've been to all protests. I've even attended burials for some of the guys who were shot on the street on a personal stand, like kwa moyo yangu. But speaking on the character of Aoko, has she really been on the revolution, or is she one of the opportunists who has been using the revolution to get to whatever she wants? And the answer is clear. You just go through her tweets. At some point in the revolution, she says the Gen Zs must choose Babu Owino to be their leader. That's what she wants. If she insists that for the revolution to be successful, we must have a leader who is Babu Owino. She is an endorser of a person. She follows a person, not ideologies. Remember, she was one of the biggest campaigners of the current regime. And the only reason that she is mad against this regime I mean, not the only reason, but one of the main reasons that she's been so vocal against the Ruto regime is because, as she says herself, she was promised a job and they told her, you are too foul-mouthed for us to give you a job, and we won't consider you for a job. And that is why she's against the Ruto regime. And she's trying to divert the revolution so that everybody chooses Babu Owino as a leader. Babu Owino could be a leader if you guys chose, but it's not because he was endorsed by Aoko. Aoko follows a person, not the ideologies. She doesn't even have ideologies. You see, we are trying, the revolution and the Gen Zs, we are trying to strive towards a constitutionally based nation where every laws in the constitution are followed. Wanjiru, abductions are illegal, but at the same time, and I'm not defending, saying at the same time is not a conjunction to defending. Freedoms have limitations. I have the freedom to speech, but if I meet you on the streets and I insult you, and I start calling maybe your mother names and start insulting your, you you may not be patient enough. And the fact that it's not on the streets and it's here on Twitter, on X, I mean, doesn't make much of a difference. So my point is, Aoko should not be abducted, but we should also check whatever we write on the on our timelines. Na kama a person is insulted by Aoko, defamation of character could open up legal cases. So if Aoko insults somebody and that person has the right to go to court, and Aoko could be arrested legally, but abductions, no. So tusiseme ati mtu tu anaweza ongea, saa zingine unaharibia mtu jina juu maybe hajakupea. Najua many politicians, okay, almost all politicians ni wabaya, but mwenye alikuwa anasema Aoko only source politicians, no, she's been on Hanifa's case. Hanifa is not a politician in any way. Amekuwa akimwambia vitu zenye, if the parents of Hanifa are on X, inaweza ingiza hata kwa depression. The thing she says about Hanifa, you know, there is a difference between facts and defaming someone's character and insulting someone and using words that, hey, hapana bwana. So yeah, that is my response to Perfectly and Wanjiru. Freedoms have limitations. Abductions are illegal, but at the same time, not bad. And at the same time, freedoms have limitations. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Can we land our points and say, and for this cause, finish your say, I believe this Aoko arrest is warranted, or I believe this Aoko arrest is baseless. The only two.
There is
No, for the next speakers.
Afrocentric.
Yes.
Afrocentric. It shouldn't be Aoko arrest. It's an abduction, which it's unwarranted. It's not an arrest. So it's an abduction. The space should be about the abduction, because it was not an arrest as I've had it. So if it was an arrest, maybe it could be warranted. Maybe it could be baseless. But this is an abduction, which is unwarranted.
Initially, I thought about, it was initially an abduction, but now we know where she is, and there's a statement. I mean, we know she's in Mutaiga police station. Those abductions, when we put all the states initially, when the government was in a abduction spree, we never knew where someone was until a day later, 2 days later. Up to now, there are some people still missing. So in the context of that is an abduction. So, but right now we know she's in police custody. She's under arrest. That's why I've used those terminologies, if that makes sense. But it was an abduction. that has now evolved into an arrest because it is clear she's in police custody. David Wakabi, are you there? David.
Afrocentric, please can I just make just one statement, please? Do you mind?
Okay, go ahead. I'm trying to expand the conversation so you can contribute more.
Just one sentence.
Okay, go ahead.
First of all, an abduction can never translate into an arrest. Due process was not followed. There was no arrest warrant. So it still remains an abduction.
So
which
right
is
now she's in
illegal.
police custody. She's abducted. That's the
She's
language
still
you should use.
abducted. She's still abducted. She's not arrested. There was no arrest warrant. There was no due process that was followed. And then just one more statement I want to make. Just because you insult my mother does not mean it is a criminal offense. Let us stick with the Constitution. The limitations are 4 in the Constitution. You cannot be arrested because I've offended your mother, please. And she still offends me, by the way. And I'm still on Hanifa's right. I'm still on Hanifa's side, yes, but she has not committed an offense.
Thank you, Wanjiru. David, are you there? David, can you hear us? Wakabi. I'm trying to follow.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. Microphone is yours.
Okay. Thank you so much. Okay, in regards to our cause arrest, I believe, I know as a human being, there are some things you cannot agree on, but when it comes to justice, doesn't matter who is on the table. Justice must be served equally. It doesn't matter whether you abuse someone, but when it comes to justice, we don't usually negotiate on those matters. So, I to be very honest, I've been a follower of Aoko. I've seen her tweets. Sometimes there are tweets that I can agree with, and there are those I can differ. But what I would like to say is that she doesn't deserve to be abducted and kuwekwa kwa police. It is not right. Everyone has a right to speech, and if the government starts, as in the government ikianza to abduct people using because of some tweets, I believe that is the wrong way to go. It is not right, because if I compare that situation with what is happening in the West, as in if they start doing that, then I believe we are going to take that, and it is not right, because
Hey, David, we are losing you. Please find some network and lift your hand and let me know when you're ready. I'll give the microphone to Ajirek. Ajirek, are you there?
Yeah. Thanks so much. I'm actually here. I'm Kennedy Hakabo Mkunda. I'm the team leader at Agrek. Agrek is a hard governance and research consultant. I'm using my firm's logo, so I'll be very balanced in my conversation. Ndio Gen Z wasinisalimie. Unajua wanaweza kusalimia. So I've followed Aoko for quite some time. And maybe before I say what I want to say, one of the work we do at Agrek is to look at the online bullying issues, the technology facilitated gender-based violence, and how does it affect leadership? And I think that is where I want to pick my conversation from. And I've done several of these trainings with USAID funded programs along this Kenya. And that's where I want to pick from. Now, you see, everything we do, and I've said I've followed Aoko for quite some time, and her thought process is that she has opinion in everything that is happening in the country. And she takes a position. Although sometimes she brings in her murky things, but she basically has a view of what is happening. Now, I want to say this, that, sorry, let me just, sorry, I will come back. My phone is going off. I'll come back. Sorry, I'll come back.
All
My phone
right.
is
Please
going off.
put your phone on the charger, and
Yeah,
we'll give you back the microphone.
I will come back. Just, yeah.
Oh yeah, no problem. Single target. Can you hear me? Single target. Are you there?
Hello,
Single.
Afrostatic. I'm
Oh,
here.
oh yeah. I can hear you. Now. Go ahead.
Could you just give me, please, about 10 minutes, then I'll be back?
Oh, sure. You can settle.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Afro,
Yes, Ivy.
I just want a 1 minute to say something to answer the other guy. He mentioned something. Is that okay?
Yeah. Please go ahead.
Okay. He said that Aoko is usually pushing an agenda for Babu Owino, and that's what I want to speak on. On the part that he talked about, he talked about the way she usually abuses Anifa. I don't think it's okay to attack your fellow Kenyan citizen except when it is a politician. That is the hill I'm willing to die on. That is where my humanity inaishia hapo kwa political class. Anyway, if you say that even those people who are trying to push the Wanjigi tag, the ones who are started to push Matiangi, several people here wenye ni big wigs wamekuwa na agenda. But today, if they are abducted, we are not going to keep quiet just because wamekuwa wakipush agenda ya mtu mwingine. They are still our fellow Kenyans. So kama Aoko ukweli akwangi akisimama na revolution the way she claims, that is for her to deal with her own conscience peke yake, lakini saa hii we are just advocating for her to be released, and then the law imtafute the right way, not by abducting her and then anaapia kwa police station like Wanjiru said. Mi sijui law. She said that is not considered still an arrest hata kama ako kwa police station saa hii. So a lot of big wigs here have been going behind us, sisi wenye generation Z, na wanaenda wanatafuta sasa, they are chasing the bag and pretending that they are pro revolution. But still, if today something happens to them and they are missing and they cannot be found, we will still push the hashtag free so and so regardless, because even if they are pushing a hashtag for good governance, yet wako na their hidden agenda, ni sawa tu, tutafika hiyo goal moja, which is good governance. So that's why mimi in my opinion nilikuwa na advocate for Aoko, because I'm human, she's human too, she's Kenyan first of all, and then amekuwa akiongelelea revolution. Mi sijajua hiyo part ya yeye kuadvocate for Babu Owino. If they know each other, that's okay too. She has also been talking about the Luo and how they need to be released from the shackles of Raila. I don't speak her language. I would have said that she's been saying this about the Kalenjins, she's been saying, but isi about tribe, isi about any politician, ni about Aoko kukuwa denied rights zake na kunyang'anywa rights zake. Yes, there are limitations to hata venye umesema hizo freedom of speech, lakini Aoko angekuwa sued ama akuwe arrested, she shouldn't have been abducted. And whether she has a hidden agenda by supporting the revolution, she doesn't deserve what she has gotten. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say. But I'm not saying she's right by abusing people here and there.
Thank you. IVKOX. Makjuma. Don. Makjuma, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh yes, microphone is yours. Can you give us your thoughts on this developing situation of the abduction of Aoko?
Yeah, first of all, me in the issue of abduction, by the way, that thing is not right. We find out that, like, even the DCI itself cannot give out the information about who is abducting. So that means it's just the executive or those people who are just around Ruto and just trying to scare us. So if somebody has something, they are just looking for ways to get rid of us, to make us scared. And maybe, like when you're abducted, most of the time, it's not like guaranteed you'll end into the police station. I'm sure it's usually, I've never been abducted, but I'm sure it's somebody who's been abducted, somebody like, I can say for the, like somebody like me, like you get transferred to various places and you're not even allowed to basic rights like food, water, and stuff, and maybe good sleeping positions, and you end up being stressed. So this way of arresting Aoko by abduction, I don't support it. Despite maybe they had valid reason, she doesn't deserve any abduction. So this is something that we must condemn, as others have said. They could have followed the right procedure. I'm sure in Kenya we don't have the right arresting procedure. Even if you're on the wrong, maybe police officers comes and harass you using their little crown. They think they are the gods, so like they harass you without even maybe telling you what you've done. I think it should be a seamless process when you are told everything that you've done, and then you are escorted directly to the police station for detention and waiting for the legal course. And yeah, I'm sure she will be released and be arrested on the right accounts in the right way, not in this way that suppress maybe human dignity and the laws of the country, and even just the general view on arresting people.
Thank you, Wakabi. I thank you for so much for your submission. Yes, I think everyone on this space is in alignment with abductions of the state should cease. We have been calling for the stop of abduction. In fact, one of the catalysts that made us transition from reject bill 2014 to Ruto must go was the abductions and the killing. I think that was one of the most fundamental issues which swayed the public opinion that Ruto is unfit to live. He's now an illegitimate president, which subsequently took us to taking to the streets. But the tough conversation I'm trying to have is the responsibility, especially when you have a loud microphone on social media. With power comes great responsibility. You cannot be devoid, you cannot separate the two. That if you make an accusation, whether it is defamation of character, whether it is inciting to violence, whether it is tribal speech, whether it's discrimination that you're encouraging, at what point do we begin to call for accountability and say, hey, this individual is abusing the freedom of speech? They are speaking recklessly. Because my issue with the politicians of the day, as much as they are very, very evil and wicked, is not who they're sleeping with, is not who they're divorced to, is not their health status. It's not where they drink or who their children are. It is the bills they're passing, the money being embezzled, the infrastructure we're not getting, the healthcare we're not getting, the medicines that are not in our hospitals, the teachers who are not being paid. It's issue based. But when we have individuals on X, And number one of the issues I've had with this movement is individuals who are dividing us by attacking us. It's like me today, make sure leo nashuka na Wanjiru. And now Wanjiru has to be the bigger person and not attack me back because itachafua TL. If two big wigs fight, we know how it goes down. But one always has to take the higher road. Because now trend hapo topic it will be about them. Na kila mtu watatafutana, wanachafuana. I am no stranger to Twitter wars and Twitter beefs and KOT beefs. And especially right now in a turning point we are as a country, when everyone has to be aligned. When do we call out these individuals who are causing infighting, backstabbing, diluting the seriousness of Ruto must go? It is so serious. I am even working with people I don't talk to on this timeline. But because of how serious, and Kenya is bigger than us, those petty differences, we're putting them to a side and we're saying, no. We have to mobilize. We have to mobilize resources. The conversation has to remain pure. When do we begin to isolate and call out these individuals? Anyway, the conversation is open. Sharing the microphone. I've seen the timeline has very interesting takes and perspectives, but I think we can agree. If you're picking up the microphone, we all agree the abductions are wrong. Now we are delving into the spirit and the letter of the Constitution. How can we? Because if we don't call it out, more divisive figures will rise. Some people are hell bent on engagements, hell bent on fronting their political favorites. Because, for example, if I throw my weight behind Ivy when she gets into political office, ataonelea masilahi yangu. So we can't claim to be fighting politicians when we are moving like politicians. And it's just a matter of time that we get elected into office and we begin to abuse power, just like them. So change must begin with us. If you feel this word cuts both ways, if you feel the leaders of the day, because the country gets the leaders that they deserve, those are we are the ones who voted Ruto. We identified with something with Ruto, even after ICC cases, even after the Kiambaa Church, even after the disappearing of Yebei and the rest. We still identified. We literally never learned. In fact, we voted for him he entered because of sympathy votes. I remember in Kasarani when Raila and Uhuru were laughing on stage. And Ruto was on the left-hand side, just looking, dejected and abandoned. That picture was powerful. It cemented in the minds of many Kenyans, no, hii serikali hizi dharau Ruto. And here we are today. Because we cannot accept responsibility for our actions. We forget too quickly. Anyway, I'll give the microphone to Felix Alango. Felix, karibu kwenye mic. Your thoughts? Abductions are wrong. What about the responsibilities of our actions? Because sometimes I can even feel someone is begging. Not only Aoko, there are some tips I follow. I feel these people are just begging for the Lord to arrest them or to be. Or is either their attention deficit or they are just explosive. And the more you ignore them, the more naked they become with it, the more vicious they get, the more personal they get to you. And when they realize you are thick, your skin is thick, they now attack your family. They go for your mother, they go for your wife, they go for your kids, they go for your relatives, they go for your business. Some are so wicked they can even report your whole source of livelihood, report you to where you work. And that's why I remember when I was engaging South Africans. I remember South Africans before all this movement broke out. South Africans would come and ask, why are many Kenyans, and we notice this in the Kenyan space, why are so many Kenyans using pseudos? Unapata mtu akona kapapi, ameweka paka, ameweka cartoon, amechora vitu maajabu. It's very, very hard to find Wanjiru there with a blue badge. And those are the names of her ID. Yeah. And then I realized, I told her, hey, in the Kenyan space, this is a different jungle. Depending on
I live in South Africa. Wachana na mimi.
oh yeah, you see that you have become like the South Africans. But it's very difficult to find. I mean, so to find someone who is really, active on this timeline, who is using their ID number. And if they're using the ID, they're very quiet. Because unaweza salimiwa proper. Siku moja, by the if you have noticed, there are many bigwigs who just wake up and their first tweet, which I shake my head, they say, "Who is the enemy today?" That is their first tweet. We have woken up, tumeoga, sasa, who is the enemy today? And God, if you live long enough in the barber shop, you'll get a haircut. So if you're on Twitter long enough, one day it will be your turn, especially if you're loud and influential. Anyway, Felix, are you there?
Yes,
the conversation is on. What are your thoughts?
Well, thank you also for this chance, man. Into the first space nipa chance ya kuongea. So thank you. Oh, so about story ya Aoko, me, I'd like to say this, and nataka kwanza kuongelea bloggers. There's something that niko now against bloggers yenye sipendi kabisa. Like for instance, ikifika
Felix. Wanjiru, can you hear Felix?
No, I can't.
Oh, Felix, I think he's got a phone call. Let me give the microphone to Single.
Hello, Afro? Yes, I'm here. Oh, we were saying it at the same time. Yeah. Hello, everybody here. Good evening, good morning, whenever each and everyone is. Thank you very much, Afrocentric, for creating this space for us. I have just maybe 5 or 6 points that I would like to quickly rush through. Basically, just questions to ask ourselves. If I'm conflicted about something, I like to put questions down and then I ask myself, try to find the answers to these questions and see from what angle am I responding to this. And that gives me a better idea of, am I looking at something from a negative or a positive perspective? Am I focused on this with my emotions, or am I also giving a chance to look at it from a wider perspective? So with that, like number one, what makes Kenya one of the top countries when it comes to democracy in Africa? I think our constitution has given us so much leeway and so much freedom that we should not allow it to be taken away from us, because it did not come easy. And then the other answers, everybody will just think about, why is it that we have so much, we're like looked up upon, And then the other thing is, when we remove the extremes that Aoko is, as a Kenyan, really, she should not be abducted. And I am not comfortable with the way things are turning in this government. Every day is abductions here and there. And the other thing that I saw is that they're proposing for village elders to be given 7,000 shillings. These are the people who are going to be controlling and being the eyes and ears to the government. And like we started saying, civic education, this is the people who are going to make it very difficult. So we also need to be cognizant of that fact. And so for Aoko to be abducted, because yes, she really does post some of her posts I read and I go, oof, you know. But then tomorrow it could be me, for me posting on my TikToks and saying his name is Zakayo, his name is Alut All, and maybe the other day could be Morara, for going all around the country. So if we can truly be honest and truthful, Alco does push the envelope and says it as it is. At least according to me, she really, how do I say, from her posts, I've never engaged with her, but from her posts, I read and I say, at least this is somebody that you know where she stands. You will not like it. It's a bitter pill to swallow, but that's it. That's what she feels, and that's her stand. And I think that's admirable. But then, to what extent with our freedom of speech? And then when we come round to that, how, when we start saying to what extent with our freedom of speech, do we then get to a point whereby we start curtailing our freedom of speech, you know? And I really don't agree with most of her posts, but I give her leeway and I look at her profile and I say, oh, well, you should see that she's calling herself Maverick. You know, people name themselves for some reason, if it's not the government names. And this is one of my strengths in life. And I think with this movement, I saw KUT was KUT Soch or something, sorry, was saying that this is no longer a Gen Z movement, but it's a Gen Zote. So, like, for me, one of my tenets in life is just like unyielding loyalty. In this case, we should stand strong together here on Twitter, on X, sorry, and try and avoid bringing each other down, because this is what the government is thriving on, dividing and ruling, you know. We call it at each other out. I'm not saying that if somebody has pissed you off, you just take it. No, stand your ground, but call the other person out, have a discussion separately, privately, but in the face of everybody else. And I think that's one of the things which brought down this movement. It's because when we have allies on our side, we start trying to bring them down. When we have allies, we should be grateful for that and take as much information as we can get from these allies, because some people have been quiet for so long and now they decide to speak up, or some people have been speaking up but they did not have that reach. It was not reaching so many people. Case in point is what Jimmy Wajigi has been talking about. People are now trying to bring in discrediting and such kind of things. I'm saying, no, we should bring him on board as an ally and see how we can make this movement strong. And as I am landing, I say, if we do believe in ending bad governance, we really should ride hard together publicly, because this is what the politicians are doing. The reason why these politicians came together is because we decided to go after all of them. When it was just KK government and Ruto must go and dissolve parliament, but they were not bothered. But the minute we started looking into the projects and all these dead things in Kenya, that's when the politicians came together. So with that, I will land. I might have gone off beat here and there, but thank you very much for this.
Thank you so much, Single Target. Very important questions you posed there. I hope we are all considering them, because right now it is Gen Zote. One Kenya. Emmanuel, are you there?
Yeah, me Afrocentric. Nimeingia space, nimekuwa off for some time, karibu 1 week, but imekuwa kucheka break kureflect kwa sababu things zimeshift. Politics ni dynamic. One day is long. Politics ina change, realignment here and there. Political class pia wamechukua class yao, pia wamechukua stance and everything. So like the last speaker amesema, okay, you feel for Aoko, but kuna some things zenye basically ufuatangi zake, kwa sababu kama kusema mtu fulani ni gay, others are lesbian. Unajua, okay, like the law imesema mtu akianza kupost things about your personal life unaweza msue and everything, but ukiangalia hii yenye ameshikwa saini politically maneuvered, kwa sababu amekuwa stanch akisupport the Gen Z movement and everything that we are doing and everything. So I feel she stands for the good of the movement. Kenya tu angeji distance ni to speak about personal life ya individuals, cause I think kila mtu akona dark side. You must be open, kwa sababu nobody is perfect in this life, but kila mtu akona dark side. I'm not like defending the politician or anyone mwenye ako high in power, but kila mtu akona dark side. Ukona pale unakwanga ume shortcomings zako and everything, but she stands for the good of this movement. Unajua, one thing, kulikuwa na hii nini ya KOT before 8 ifike, and I said hapa ndani ya movement kuna watu type 3. Kuna wase utasema tokea, hawatakuwa kwa street. Kuna wase utasema tufuate agenda, watafuata agenda, because mainly I speak about the ID and everything. Kuhusu ID, kwa sababu ID ndio the weapon that we have 2027, and recalling these stupid MPs, the MPs, kwa sababu mimi I call them the MPs kwa sababu they're the tumbocrats. Wanaingia kwa bunge kushughulikia their own personal needs. Msienda alipwe 90,000 allowance per sitting. Unaangalia sahi kama vetting ya MCS venye ilikuwa inafanywa, hiyo ilikuwa movie show. Kama pia Inspector General ni kama movie show. Anaulizwa mambo ya accountability ya 61 people, like wenye tu wametajwa, cause I believe mimi ni 300 people and above wenye wamekufa kwa maandamano and everything, post maandamano. But anaulizwa accountability ya 61 people, he can't answer. Anakuambia ati sijui the IPOA. The issue is the IPOA. Kwanza IPOA is a fucked up system. Like seriously, IPOA is a fucked up system. Ukiangalia IPOA, there is no day umeangalia IPOA imeenda imeshtaki polisi kotini, akaapprehendiwa, akafungwa. Kulikuwa nao the Kionjokoma brothers, kesi ya ilikuwa kwa the Uhuru Ruto regime. It has never been brought to boot. So hawezi kasema sahi huyu jamaa mwenye sahi anahojiwa ati Douglas Kanja ati is fit to hold office kwa Inspector General. It is the same game. alafu kuna type ya watu watatu. Kuna watu hapa wenye ndani wanaingia kwa WhatsApp kugaslight wengine. We say tutokea kwa street, hawaingiangi street, you will not see anybody. Na mimi that's why mimi sometimes naendanga naambia msee, hebu post picha yako moja yenye ukiwa kwa maandamano, kwa sababu sasa mpaka umeanza kukuja ukajua the real revolution ina happen on TikTok, kwa sababu people on TikTok wana shoot video live wakiwa in their houses. Ukiangalia Morara, unajua Morara amejaribu kupush civic education kwa ground, kwa sababu civic education ndio kenye society imelack. Our society is very vulnerable in terms of civic education. Unapata president amekuja ku launch switch na posho meal. Like juzi president ame launch posho meal. Seriously, president wa nchi nyingine wana launch bigger project. Like president ameenda Kisii ku launch posho meal na switch ya stima, alafu naambiwa ati stima mashinani. What the fuck? Chief atafanya kazi gani if president atenda launch switch, kufungua switch na kunywa chai kwa mama mboga na kunywa chai kwa villager? That villager hana exposure, hana anything yenye inaendelea kwa in the new norm, kwa sababu kumbuka our villagers mostly, kuna watu wengi bado sahi hawana means of communication kama TV kuangalia. Unajua TV, smartphones, ku access network, kuangalia what happens in the real world, kwa sababu mtu wa nyumbani hana the idea of what happens kwa maandamano. Wasi wanapigwa risasi, huyo kijana wa Karatina wa 88 mwenye alipigwa risasi sasa kwa ICU. You can imagine the things. Sasa president ameshaanza ku move around at his launching project, na ana launch posho meal and switch na bulb, and then you are there clapping, you are clapping your hands stupidly kwa rally. Seriously, these are the things zenye zinatubother kwa ground, zinatubother. Civic education is like watu wako illiteracy. Unajua mpaka inafika unapiga hesabu level of illiteracy kwa culture yetu iko, is it at 90%? Kwa sababu how can you listen to Zakayo up to date? Like seriously, how can you attend his rally and clap your hands? How can you clap your hands at this juncture? Like 25th umekuwa kwa hii Kenya, umewitness what happened in 25th. Like si kwenye tuliinvade ndani ya bunge, ingefai bunge idissolviwe as a whole, kwa sababu huko kuna my yes men and stupid women huko ndani and stupid men huko ndani wa kupiga yes in every bill. Sasa ukienda kukutama MPs, 3/4 of them do not understand wali vote finance bill 2024 2025. I understand the contents zenye ziko huko ndani ya hiyo finance bill. How understand anything? They just voted yes kwa sababu ya the 2 million that they were given. What is the function of the women rep? Huku kwa society unapata women hawana support, hawana the energy ya kujiempower as women, na wako na women rep in every county. Unapata girl child maisha yake wana get impregnated, early marriages in society kwa counties, kwa different counties, kwa sababu lack of exposure, lack of knowledge. So unaangalia different stuffs zina happen in our society. Like civic education kwa society yetu iko very low. We must accept that, kwa sababu sahi kuita like the 27th maandamano, wacha tukue realistic. Unajua mimi say sahi when nime observe things after 25th, na venye umeangalia backgraph ya maandamano imeenda kididimia. First 25th kulikuwa na ile maandamano 25th ilikuwa organic, kwa sababu everybody alikeep their tool down, akatoka kwa street ukijua uko na jambo moja, this finance bill haifai kupitishwa, kwa sababu one way or the other it can affect as an individual, as a commercial, as a law firm, as a businessman, as a businesswoman. But ukiangalia hizi maandamano zenye zilifuata after 25th, they were not organic. Wasea watokei fear goons ndani ya maandamano, tribal cards. Unaona sasa hii Ruto ametuweza, na kuna kitu inaitwa mtu wetu politics, and the tribal cards zimeko on the arena. So unaangalia isha to divide. Sasa ukienda Nyanza, people of Nyanza sasa hiyo hizi tokea kwa maandamano, and nilifeel sana hiyo 88 wase wengine kuingia kwa exap alafu kuanza kusema wase wa Nyanza ni sellouts. How can you call a whole entire community sellouts? Na kuna watu kama sisi akina Manu tuko huku ndani kwa space, we advocate for democracy and accountability, alafu useme the whole community is a sellout. So you expect ni kama una wewe mwenye unapinga ukabila alafu bado ndo unasema Nyanza sijui Central sijui the Kalenjins are stupid. Unaangalia tushadividiwa like that day tulijua tribal cards are very heavy. Zikishachezeshwa na politicians hapo kwa ground tunakuwa dump. Kila mtu ana result kwa mimi ni Mkikuyu, mimi ni Mkale, kila mtu anakunja mkia. So that is the big issue. We don't want tribal politics. So tribal politics iko hapo. Mtu wetu politics ina play around. So we have to like civic education ndo bado inafai kufanywa kwa sababu unaangalia hata 27th you wonder will it be organic? Will it be organic? So I say is a wake up call. Hakuna mwenye ana support Aoko kukuwa arrested or abducted and everything, but kwa say personal, I think mimi nasemanga hapo is hapo ni low somehow, but articulate issues venye na pointing out issues, we must stand for her in every way, but civic education ndo imelaka kwa society. So hata tukisema 27th it will be the same thing kwa sababu huwezi expect mtu wa mashinani ashaona kwa TV Pio Wandai ameingia ndani ya serikali, Joha ameingia ndani ya serikali, anasema kwa nini tuandamane? And most ukiangalia the population generation X ndio wana push the narrative the mtu wetu politics. Unajua generation X imeka kwa wazazi wetu, like the boomers, generation X ni wazazi wetu. So like unapata mama yako anakuambia wewe ulienda kuandamana, umeandamana, Ruto amebadilisha nini? Tulikuambia unapiga kelele kwa barabara bure. So those are the things, the factors. So civic education iko very low in our society, like iko at 0%. Hata tuja make move ya 1%. So shout out kwa kina Morala, ukiona TikTok akina Sally. I may think TikTok is where the real revolution ina happen. Kwa sababu ukiangalia hizi X spaces haujaenda kwa platform ya msee ama kwa page yake uone amepost picha yake akiwa maandamano. Watu ni waoga, like seriously. But TikTok msee ata post video akicriticize Zakayo na bado apost video akiwa maandamano. So you like the real revolution and the real people wako kwa TikTok, like here on X. People wanaweza articulate, wanaweza point out the issues, but kutokea kwa street ama kusupport the movement, people are hypocrites. So hiyo pia tunafai kukubaliana nayo mapema. So civic education mimi nasema ipushiwe kwa sababu inafai kupushiwa kabisa, kwa sababu unaangalia sahi issue ya maisha card. Watu understand like Ruto anatumia sahi maisha card kama weapon ya 2027. Like sasa hivi anaingia huko ground anakuambia ati is launching projects. Huyo jamaa ameshaanza campaign ya 2027. Youths wako hapo bado. We are not pushing reconstitution of the IBC. IBC ijaundwa. Imagine sasa hiki pita 3 years IBC ijaundwa, it is the most tutakuwa very depressed. Hata 2027 imagine kufika 2027 wengine hawana ID. Unajua generation alpha watu wa 2010 watu wa 2010 wanafai kupiga kura 2027. Imagine sahi civic education ijafika kwa hao watu hii 2027 itakuwaje? The same scenario, wanavuka kwa wazazi wetu. Wanajua weakness yako ni mzazi wako, atakuja aseme my friend sitaki kukuona huko kwa barabara, mheshimiwa ametupatia unga, mheshimiwa ametupatia 1000, wewe sitaki kuona huko kwa barabara. So civic education bado ijafika kwa ground, ijafika kwa wazazi wetu. Wazazi wetu wako like unaandamana kwa nini? Bado hajaelewa importance ya kustand for our rights, unaona? So we have a long way to go. Tukisema 27th is okay to go and demonstrate, but it will be like nane the same scenario. Tribal cards zita play hapo na mtu wetu politics zita play hapo. But #free Aoko and everything. But kwenda ya wase personal, mimi hapo si I don't support it kwa sababu everyone has a choice. Ukichoose kufanya anything and anything, it is your life personally, and everything has a dark side. Kila mtu akona dark side yake, kwa sababu there is nobody mwenye ako perfect in this life. Ukona dark side yako, ukona udhaifu wako as an individual, but going for kuattack mtu personally haitakusaidia. Go to the real issues. Kama hafanyi hivi na kwa in position of leadership, it doesn't help. Point out, to criticize, to iron out those things. So civic education bado iko chini, hiyo ndo tunafai kupush. Alafu ndio wasee wajue tuna fight for nini, kwa sababu bado generation X and the boomers how understand watu wanaenda kwa street kufanya nini. Hao sasa wako like wewe, si watu walishaekwa kwa serikali, tuko kwa ndani ya serikali. Yeah, so like anakuambia usiende kwa street. So vitu kama hizo zinafai kuwa our priorities. Civic education, the first thing on the ground. Ukivuka kwa ground, educate, tunafai kuandamana kwa nini? ID. Mimi naweza sema to be truthful, like yangu ilipotea. Tangu February ni apply mine yangu ilipotea. So I was to renew. Up to date haijaitoka. Watu waongelee hizo issue kwa platform. ID is the main weapon enye tunafai kutumia ku recall the stupid MPs who voted for the punitive bill ya financial year 2024-2025. So hizo ndo vitu zenye tunafai kukua tuna push. ID ni kitu ya maana. So we push that manze. So wasisahau vitu kama hizo. So we push but Aoko must be freed kwa sababu ana point out the weakness. Alafu the cyber act inafai kukua our main thing yenye tuna push. Kwa sababu ukiangalia kama cryptocurrency, tukitumia hata cryptocurrency kwa uchaguzi and everything, like Maxwell Bruno na mwana kwa hapa anaweza ongelea to things to do with cryptocurrency and everything, how we can store our money and in cryptocurrency, how we can use cryptocurrency in election. So vitu kama hizo hao ndio watu wenye sasa tunafai kupull up kwa hizi spaces tunawasikiza. So Afrocentric, thank you, but kwa platform zote tukienda kumbusha wasee kuhusu the importance of having an ID card and the importance of civic education. Alafu mimi nilikuwa napiga hesabu kwa watu wa media. Mimi nilikuwa nawaomba ikifika 1 week to election, nilikuwa naomba hata wa publish every personality ya ule mtu mwenye unaenda kuvote kwa ballot. Ungekuwa na publish personal nini yake, everything about him, about that person, na achievement na failures of that person. At least tutakuwa na 1 week kupitia through kwa gazeti uangalia achievement and the failures, the strengths and everything. At least mtu wa mashinani akiandikiwa gazeti hata kwa tabaka ataelewa why we are going to vote, kwa sababu unaangalia wasi wa bodaboda wana misuse kwa society kwa sababu ya knowledge. So we have to kuangalia side, kwa sababu unaangalia watu wa bodaboda wana misuse kwa society kwa sababu ya semi literacy. So wanaweza chukuliwa alipiwe 500 na wakuje wakaunte maandamano, na inakuwa polisi wanasema wacha tu chill back, wapigana wenyewe kwa wenyewe. Unaona vitu kama hizo. Alafu watu wa Subaru wanatokea later in the day, alafu wanaanza kupiga watu risasi. Stupid things. Sahi high court ilisema watu wa Subaru na watu wenye wamevaa mask wasitokee kwa street. Do you think the police and the entire interior ministry ikifika next week 27th hawatatokea? They will just do the same. They will rape the constitution. They are used in raping the constitution over and over again. They will just do that. The same scenario. Kama hakutakuwa na civic education na mass mobilize the masses who's the importance of what you are fighting for, my friend, utatokea kwa street alafu uitwe endo unaharibu amani. Unasikia huyo jamaa juzi akilaunch hiyo Eldoret ikuwe city, alikuwa anasema chungeni Eldoret Gen Z wasichome. You can imagine the message is driving to the community. So ni kumaanisha Gen Z ni majangili, watachoma inchi. So we have a long way to go. we have a long way to go. Like civic education ingefai kukua in a continue recalling of the stupid MPs and the stupid MPs when you're kwa bunges ingekuwa inafanywa actively. I thank mine mwenye nilimpigia kura Babu alipiga no for the finance bill, and at least leo nimemwona kiissue press briefing, at least someone like that. But hii side ingine unajua like ukiangalia along Kagundo Road imedivided along kuna Embakasi East na kuna bado Kasarani. So ukiangalia Kasarani kuna very stupid MP mwenye alipiga yes, is a CEO of M-Pesa. So ukiangalia mtu kama huyo anahitaji recalling kwa sababu hajui functions. Many women rep akina Linet Toto, very useless people. Mtu anasimama kwa bunge anaambia president atichapisha pesa mingi ukiituma kwa ground utakuwa umetatua issue ya economy. Like how do you print out many notes alafu uzitume ndani ya ground alafu niambie umetatua issue ya economy? How an MP amesimama tu anaongea vitu kama hizo? Hiyo ni more seriously. So issue of ID representation, recalling of the MPs, hiyo ndio inafai kuwa the main issue kwa sababu we are fucked up as a society. And remember, unajua watu wengi wanafikirianga tuna fight Ruto must go hashtag peke yake. We are fighting the entire system. Like sahi hashtag inafai kuwa Ruto must go, and we are fighting the entire system. Like system imekuwa into place since 1963. It is the same system. Imagine tunaweza toa Ruto leo tupate another leader is doing the same thing. Na unajua kitu yenye sahi imetusaidia kenye majenzi wanafai kujua, it is the new constitution ndio imetuhold, imetushikilia as individuals. New constitution imetusaidia. You can imagine sahi Ruto angepata ile the old constitution, what he could do. Kama sahi kwa new constitution anaweza uawase na hakuna accountability. The judiciary imetufail. Like the chief justice anafai kukuwa amesummon the interior ministry as a whole. Anafai kukuwa amesummon CS wa interior, PS, the inspector general na watu wote wenye wako under security. These shenanigans must stop. Haifai kukuwa tikoti inatoa direction pale alafu Ministry of Interior ina rape constitution and then life ina continue. Why? Kenya ndio pali a society while life of an individual haimati, msichana pigwa risasi pahali and life continues. Why? Akina Rex Masai walipigwa risasi, wameshazikwa. No action has been taken. Nobody has been arrested. Is this the society yenye tunataka continue now? No. So a wake up call. Civic education iko very low. Civic education iko very low. Na nakwambia turnout ya 27th. The same thing kwa sababu tribal politics, mtu wetu politics isha play part. You can't expect people of Nyanza watatokea kwa state. No, they can't. You can't expect people of Coast watokea kwa state. They will not do that. Kusipokuwa na civic education itakuwa the same scenario. So we must wake up, manze. We must wake up and educate the community on the importance of voting, on the importance of rioting, and the importance of demonstration, on what you are fighting for, accountability, leadership, openness. So we are fighting for accountability. What was wasisahau kitu kama hiyo? And we are fighting the entire system as a whole. The system must change. The system is from 1963. Since we gained independence, it is the same system. Jomo Kenyatta, Moi, Kibaki, Uhuru Kenyatta, now the Ruto regime. The same scenario. So we must change everything as a whole if we want change. So it is revolution. So Afro, thank you for the mic and for the opportunity, but civic education all the way. So thank you guys. Big up Afro kwa kuweka hii space, and free Aoko, and Ruto must go, and the entire system must go home. So thank you guys. Big up, shout out to Joyem Manze na Maxwell Bruno up.
Afrocentric, are you around?
Yes, I am. Sorry. I had to rush to the microphone. I wanted to land the space at the top of the hour because it's getting late. So let us give our closing statements on this developing situation of Aoko. Kevin, boss, are you there? Kevo, unasikia? Kevo, that's a dead mic.
Could I go first?
All right.
My phone is
Oh yeah. Your battery. Go ahead.
yeah. So I would first like to thank One Kenya Emmanuel for the many remarks. And just on a light note, in a forum where a lot of people want to talk, it's important that you limit yourself to a certain timeline, you see, so that you give other people chances to speak, and in the process you don't exhaust ears of your listeners. But as much as everything you've said is correct, you've been repeating yourself a lot, which could be said as insisting on your points, but at the same time, you put an alarm on your mind, ndio wase wengi waongee. So you've also talked on the issue of IDs, and I think that's very important. But I'm just thinking, assuming everybody had an ID, we still have a very big problem. And that is that the last time we all agreed on one specific thing, all of us, was on the 25th of June, and some dates prior to that date. We all agreed to meet on the streets, but from my experience, if we were to go on the streets on the 27th of August, it will be a just cause, but let's evaluate what happens after that. Let's start with abductions. When persons are abducted, more than 60 people have been abducted. Us who are on the streets with them, what actions have we taken? 60 of us died on the streets on various dates. What actions have we taken? Us who are on the streets with them. Personally, I haven't done much besides on Twitter, but I have attended the funeral of one of the guys, I'd say that, and I've been to the Uhuru Park concert that was centered on honoring the guys who died during the protest. But can we make a pact? The pact nationally that we currently have is the constitution. But is there a way that we could make a pact that ensures that the powers, the government of the day, does not even entertain the thought of abducting or killing any one of us? Is there a way that we could do that? Is there a way that I could know that nikienda street and I was abducted, sitakuwa tu story ingine, maybe juu mimi si big wig ama anything? Could we make a pact that if I was to be shot on the streets, my family would know that I haven't died for nothing, that kila mtu atarudi to whatever mtu alikuwa anafanya? Because in my opinion, if Rex and the other guys who died on the 25th of June are watching, then I'd say they are very much disappointed because since then hata si story hata na kushinda street kila siku, but we can't seem to agree on one specific thing actually. And if this situation we are in finds us in 2027, nothing will change. I can wager my life on that. Nothing will change. Ruto has realized that this generation of learned people are not going to vote him in 2027. So what does he do? He goes back to the village and starts playing mind games with our parents and certain and unemployed youth. But as I've seen, many of the youth are not clapping during those rallies. If you get to capture a video ya hadi huko nyuma, people are not entertaining that nonsense. But our parents don't even know what's happening. Our grandparents don't know what's happening. And 2027, they might make the same mistake. They don't know 60 young men, a person like Denzel who was shot, a potential learned man in this nation was shot, was tortured and thrown into a swamp. But what did we do? What assures me that if I was to join this cause, let's say I'm not in this cause, how can I convince someone who's not been attending the protest to attend the protest and tell him ukishutiwa hapo kwa protest hautakuwa umeshutiwa for nothing. Ukiabductiwa upelekwe Central Police Station, if it's an abduction, the following day 300 Kenyan youth who have been with you on the streets watakuwa hapo. Is there a way we can make that fact? Is there a way we can agree politically on one specific person? Can we search among ourselves, even if we don't go to the political elite, political class? Can we search among ourselves and agree on one person? That's the questions we should be asking ourselves, because if 2027 comes and we're in the situation we are currently in, nothing much will change. The votes will be divided between a person like Kalonzo if he was to run alone, and Badakarua if he was to run along, and somebody like Omtata if he was to run alone. And guess who would win? Your guess is as right as mine. We would be in the same situation for another 5 years. So we have a lot of questions that we need to ask ourselves. We have a lot of planning before 2027. Even if we were all to get ideas, it will still take a lot of understanding and a lot of consensus for us to change this nation. Thank you and have a good night.
Thank you so much, the other guy. Yes, we need to get our IDs. Yes, we need to begin to wrestle with the thought of now absorbing politicians who want to identify with the movement. I've seen that conversation sparking in some corners of KOX. But the hashtag today is Free Aoko. No matter how much offensive her tweets might get, no matter how much the ad hominem attacks and how ruthless she is when she tweets, the fact remains that her rights have been violated. She was in the comfort of her home when hooded plainclothes policemen abducted her and came, abducted her. And now we are getting word that she's in Muthaiga police station and she will be there incarcerated for the weekend. The police have denied her counsel. Again, another violation of her rights. They have also they are also not telling the public or communicate why they have abducted her. and why she's in police custody. They haven't explained to her anything. This is the government of the day that we are fighting. This is the evil regime that is rewinding and reversing all the constitutional gains, all the democratic gains that we have come so far. And Kenya has been a beacon of human dignity, human rights in Africa. Just one election, putting one wrong leader, has now taken us back decades. We are a joke. We're turning into a banana republic with these abductions. So we are here on this space, and our voice is unanimous when we say, stop abducting us. Grant us our freedom of speech. We cannot live like we are children of a lesser God, and that Ruto is our small g God, and he can do with what his will, and he can decide the right to life. That is what we are telling the government today. We are closing at the top of the hour, so if you have something to say, please pick up the mic. We are talking about Aoko freedom being taken from her. Because what is happening to another Kenyan could happen to you. There are no sacred cows. So I'll give the microphone to David. 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you so much, Afrocentric. CJ, I think last time something happened with my network, but I'm glad I'm back. So, just like I was saying, on the topic of alcohol being abducted, we should remember that we are supposed to use our enemies. In case, even if you don't agree with Aoko or anyone on the timeline, Afrocentric, or any other big wig, or anyone else even in your life, we all need those people in the movement. It doesn't matter if that person doesn't agree, or even disagrees with you. We need everyone on the page, because how can you know the importance of light without having some darkness in it? Always remember, we need all those people, even our enemies, so that we can maneuver these big mountains. So wherever you are, whether you agree with someone on the timeline or not, remember that is just someone else who has his or her own opinions regarding about a topic. So we don't push a lot. We don't support that abduction, and we should condemn those bad acts which are happening to even the other people or even our comrades. So remember, anywhere you go, whether you agree with someone or not, as in don't suppress anyone's opinion, just give them a chance to air his or her opinion. So I'm gonna stop there. I won't speak so much, and I would like to give other people a chance. So thank you so much, KOT, and kindly remember, we are asking for justice. It doesn't matter who you are or where you are from. We are all equal when it comes to laws, whether you are a politician or not. So thank you very much. Have a blessed night.
Thank you, David. Dr. AJ.
Afro, good morning.
Morning.
Mine will be very brief. I think we just need to do two things. Kwanzaa, I hope, because Mimi, I think I don't know. Afro, I don't know if you have received. I've received almost 10 calls with strange numbers. This week only. I don't know if some of you are receiving those things, but I think they are intending to do this to some of us. Yeah, I think so. I think Afro, if you would allow, some of us, I think we need to create a platform in which when you receive such kind of calls, I think we need to have a way forward so that those numbers can be forwarded to either of us with a strong following, and then they are just wananikwa tu hapa online, and that would be much better. I think now also there is need to start thinking how to deal with these policemen, because the kind of adaptions they are doing are not making sense at all. Adaptions should not be in there. It is not even in the law. So I think it is out of the law, and we should deal with them, I think, also as such. Something else is that let's focus on becoming a united front, and try as much as possible to do two things. One, let's clamor for a protest that is heading to Nyayo House for ID to be devolved down, and the period for taking those IDs or registering for those IDs na kuzipata. Then the other thing is Parliament. I think now it is the right time to send them away by just ensuring dissolving them so that we can get some minds that can be able to listen to us. Thank you so much and good morning.
Asante sana Paul Soba.
Asante sana Afrocentric, nafurahi sana kupatiwa mic. One, we have a serious issue in the entire African continent. We've been having an issue of dictatorship around Kenya, and that is Uganda. Hawajai kuchange rahisi for how many years? About 40 years. Huh? And in Kenya now, we've been having some kind of resemblance to the democracy. However, it's not the actual democracy that we want. So what is happening right now, abductions, I follow very, very closely. What's happening in Tanzania, the progress, what's happening in Kenya so far since 2022, what's happening in Uganda. The dictatorship is now roaming about, and we're having an issue of neo-colonialism. There's the reason why this dictatorship thrive. Right now, Kenya made a mistake and voted Ruto. And Ruto is a schoolboy of dictatorship from Uganda, dictator Museveni. What is happening in Kenya right now has happened in Uganda on a large scale. Abductions, even up to now, are ongoing. They've been having since, they've been taking place since 2016, abductions, okay, with impunity, okay? And now it is that time when we realize that we are in a real struggle and we are in a real revolution. This revolution is not for Kenya only. This revolution is not for Uganda only. This revolution is not for Burkina Faso only, Central African Republic. It is for the entire Africa. We need to wake up. Like one of the comrades said, civic education is very important. Our struggle now, we need to focus on it, is inside the public about our national IDs that are, which is a mirror image copied from Uganda. They created national IDs before they used not to have them, but now they have them over the last 10, 15 years, and they used not to have national IDs. And those national IDs are being deliberately made to expire after 10 years so that you keep on paying and paying, renewing your citizenship. Whereby if they don't want you to vote, they take away your right to vote. They can control how many people who want change can vote. And they can deliberately deny you to have an ID and give you an excuse when that time comes for voting, because you cannot vote without a national ID. So the same thing they are trying to push for Kenya. So this is something that can unite us, and we educate the people on the ground and tell them, look, your national ID, you have to be renewing it every after 10 years. And it takes away your right to vote. So we must refuse this, no change. We must not accept this, because after 10 years, they will even make you pay for the national ID. So that's a big thing. Another thing that can unite us, we cannot allow these ongoing abductions and killing with impunity. That thing, we must sensitize the people around the entire Africa. We are tired of Africans being killed on the tunes of the Western influence. The politics that we have in Africa does not reflect the politics that the so-called foreign policy that they have in the European countries. So why is it that in Africa we have a politics whereby if you disagree, they have to, or if you use your constitutional rights to go and protest, they have to call the police, and the police, instead of keeping law and order and controlling the public in case there's any violence, they are straight away start shooting to kill peaceful protesters. Just imagine, wameua ndugu zetu, just live bullets, shoot to kill. This has been happening in Uganda. I know for sure because I've been following a lot, because I have a family there, and I know I've been following a lot of what is going on there. Shoot to kill with impunity. And this so-called ambassador from the USA recently came to Kenya to talk to Ruto, Rais Ruto. It only to send a clear message that if you allow the Kenyans to uprise and take over the power that we've given you, stand by. You are going to receive a death sentence. That's why he will do everything he can to sacrifice fellow Africans to support the interest of the West. We are under attack. The democracy that the West preach to us is fake democracy. You know, we are becoming dependent mainly on their decisions. If you don't agree with them, then they remove you out of power. And I don't know why Ruto, and I insist, it must be in politics forever and ever. We need to get rid of these long-time political career-minded people, whereby that the politics is a job. That is wrong. We want leadership. And at the moment, we don't have leadership. And that's what Gen Z are trying to do right now, because we've been under captivity since 1963, under captivity. So what must we do? Like one of the comrades just said here, one Kenya, he said, we just do civic education. I really like the one of the chap ambaye anapiga nini, anapiga ngili kwa matatu. I've seen this guy, is one of the Gen Zs, our comrades. They preach in the matatus, in buses, different buses. You go on different bus stations and you enter the buses and preach to the people the things that affect and unite all of us, so that they know next time when we do something, they will not be begged to come and join us. They will just be yearning to come and then for our cause. Okay, that is a very good strategy. Preaching the gospel to the matatus, to tax park, schools. You go send your child at school with some message to fellow students to tell their parents, to pass, deliver all these messages, and that's what we call mass mobilization. That once we achieve that that mission, then we will be ready to go for phase 2 of moving Ruto and his system. The entire system needs to go. Okay, so Nane, it was the beginning of the struggle. So the struggle is like a marathon, but we need civic education first. In the interest of time, comrades, I appreciate Mike. I really beg to yield the mic.